Hey guys, welcome to my first YouTube video. I finally have the time to start making some longer form content. I know some people from my TikTok, from C.U.Online. If you aren't following me on TikTok, go follow me over there. Some people have been asking for longer form content to fully understand print on demand. So I will be starting and using this YouTube video. One of the biggest questions that I had when I first started out, and one of the most common questions that I see under my videos, is which should I use, Printful or Printify? I have used both extensively now, and can see the pros and cons to each. So I will list those out for you, and then I'll also let you know at the end of the video what I use. So some Printful Pros can charge in multiple currencies. This is great if you are not American. I'm Canadian, and I know a lot of other people are coming from England, the UK. So you want to be able to be charged in your own native currency to avoid any foreign transaction fees. Printful also has worldwide fulfillment centers that they own. That means they should be using all the same equipment. They have the same quality standards across multiple different printers that are located in the US, in Canada, in Europe. So you know that when you are getting an international order, it is usually sent to the closest printer near them, and it belongs to Printful. So shipping is cheaper and shipping is quicker. Printful also has less stocking issues versus Printify. So during Christmas, this was really important because Printify just kept running out of products, including like my top sellers, which were even just like the white color. So I would have to use Printful to fill out a lot of common sizes and colors. Printful can also include gift messages, which is really important because on Etsy, there is an option for customers to include a gift message, and your t-shirts and sweatshirts are bought as gifts a lot, and especially during Christmas, which is the busiest time of the year, you will get a lot of messages from people asking to include a gift message with their product. And then another one is Printful can embroider some of your products. So their t-shirts and sweatshirts that they sell, it's only like a certain size kind of in the corner here or centered here. So it's not like a full t-shirt of embroidery, but it is an option with Printful. It is a bit more expensive the first time you print it because they need to like digitize the file, but they look really, really great, especially for like emblem printing or logo printing. So Printful is good for that. But the cons to Printful is it is more expensive than Printify. You can probably make the same product for $5 cheaper on Printify, especially if you are paying for their premium membership. And so that is very important if you are prioritizing profit margins. This is highly debated, the quality issues, but from my experience of using both Printful and Printify, I noticed a considerably higher amount of people complaining to me when it was a Printful order. And then the last con for Printful is there is less color variations. There is like two colors, sand and forest green, which I love, which are only offered in Printify, and many of the colors for the t-shirts as well, there's like at least 2 times more that you can find in Printify versus Printful. And then on to Printify and the Printify Pros. So the biggest one for sure, it is cheaper, which is why I love Printify, just having a bigger profit margin, because already for print on demand, you aren't making a huge profit margin to begin with because of the nature of like you're not doing any of the printing. You're having a supplier who is taking a lot of the cut in exchange for you not having to do anything. So the cheaper that you can get it, the better. They also have more color variation. So like I mentioned earlier, the sand and forest green, 2 of my best sellers, are only available in Printify, but buyer beware, because the problem with this is that they are going out of stock really often because not every supplier offers it, and then Printful doesn't have them. So a lot of times if it goes out of stock, you kind of either have to go through all your listings and update them to say out of stock, or you have to keep them live and kind of just tell your customers when they order that it is out of stock and they might have to pick a new color. And then last but not least, it has less quality issues. So again, this is from my experience personally. I have had very few complaints from Printify about quality issues. What I have had more though, which is kind of weird, is the completely wrong product from somebody else's shop being sent to my customer. This kind of happened a lot during Christmas. It seems to have been fixed because I'm having less issues with it, But again, I would say I would choose Printify over Printful in terms of dealing with customer service because I've had to deal with less when my orders come from Printify. So onto the Printify cons. So a big one is they can only charge in USD. So for Americans, this is fine. You probably already have your USD credit card. But for people like me, Canadian, I do not have a USD credit card, which did pose an issue. I was lucky enough to find a foreign transaction fee free card. So I just have to do the exchange rate, but I don't pay the 2.5% fee on it that a lot of other cards charge. Then Printify also outsources their printing. So unlike Printful, which owns a bunch of different printing houses, Printify has different suppliers that are not a Printify brand that they route their orders to. It kind of works when you set up your product, you choose which supplier of theirs you want to use, and that becomes your main printing company. It does work well because you already know that it's always going to be the same quality, but the problem is it's always shipping from one location. So if you are doing international shipping, it can get expensive. When Printful routes things closer to your customer, Printify doesn't. It always ships from your one spot, which can make shipping longer and more expensive. The last two issues is you cannot embroider like you can on Printful, and then you cannot include gift messages. You can turn off your gift messages in Etsy, but you will still get requests for it quite a bit, and you kind of have to tell them that no, you can't if you are solely using Printify. What do I use? And even though it may seem like it could be Printful because of how many pros they have, I actually do mostly stick with Printify now. I started my print-on-demand journey with Printful, but I did move over. One, because I noticed the profit margins were better with Printify, and for print-on-demand, profit margins are huge. Anywhere you can get an extra dollar or two are so important. And if you have Printify Premium, it's even lower. And then number two was the quality issues. I was having issues with a lot of people coming back saying like the sweater was smelly or it was off center or it was too small. And so I tried moving over to Printify and I did get less quality issue complaints. And though I now do recommend that people use Printify over Printful, there are cases out there that I believe people should actually use Printful over Printify. Number one, if you cannot get access to a USD credit card and you cannot get a card that has zero foreign transaction fees, I would consider moving over to Printful if they can charge in your currency. If you can't find a card like this is an extra 2.5% you are losing on every order. And then you also need to consider the main market in which you want to sell to. Printify is great for USA shipping because you only have that one supplier that you pick from. And like I said, it is more expensive and longer to ship from that one supplier if you are shipping worldwide. Using Printify, I had an issue because I was getting a lot of Canadian orders. Just a heads up that Etsy does rank you higher for local searches. So if you say you're from Toronto, you are going to get a lot of more Canadian orders versus if it says I am from Miami. So I was getting a lot of Canadian orders when my shop was listed in Toronto. I was getting so many complaints of people being like, hey, I thought you were Canadian. Why is this shipping over from Miami? So I decided to actually switch my store to say that I am from Florida. And now I'm getting more US orders. I still get a few Canadian orders, but at least they know where it's coming from. And I'm not getting these messages that are like, why are you lying? Why are you shipping from USA if you said you're from Canada? So if you can't or you do not want to make USA your main market, then I would consider Printful because they do route orders worldwide to ship closer to each person. And that's not to say I do not use Printful anymore. I use Printful as a backup supplier in case, say, Printify runs out of a product. Maybe I do get a really big international order. I will take some time to move over a product from Printify to Printful. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that in another video. And then if I have some products that I want to do embroidery for, I will set them up in Printful instead. So I do still have both linked to my store, just most of my listings are originally located from Printify, and then I manually move over things to Printful. So as you can see, there are pros and cons to both Printify and Printful, and use cases depending on the person that you are and how you want to run your business. If you are prioritizing profit margin, I would suggest Printify. If you want a more passive experience and you want to be shipping more internationally, I would suggest Printful. So I hope that helped you guys understand the differences between Printful and Printify and helped you decide which one you want to use as your main supplier. Stay tuned. I will be sharing more on this YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, go get my TikTok a follow at C.U.Online. Thanks and talk later.